This is a weekly live broadcast, so while we're waiting for everything to load up, everybody to get in here, I'll just give you the normal disclaimers that I normally give that, we don't have any kind of topic planned out. This is just pretty much an Ask Me Anything session, and I do my best to respond to all the chats that come in during the live broadcast itself. And what else? What else? Oh, just be family friendly. Don't cuss at anybody. Don't bring up political stuff. We don't need to get arguments started in here. This is all, we can disagree on things and still be friends. There's no reason to even talk about that kind of stuff. So, let's get into it. I'll start. We've already got some people in here waiting and some people already commenting. So, let's get into the live broadcast. All right, so we've got Trapper TV here, says, hey, so I had a rabbit start running around with hay a week early. She ended up having 3 stillbirth 2 days after giving birth. Now my next doe is doing the same thing, only 2 weeks. Is this common? I wouldn't say it's extremely common, but it's not uncommon. Every once in a while, a rabbit has some stillborn babies. It probably has nothing to do with her, building running around with hay a week early, any of those kinds of things. That's not uncommon at all. I wouldn't stress about it. It's probably just a one-off thing. If it's a continuing occurrence where she continues to have a bunch of stillborn babies, then that may indicate that there's a problem. But one time, I wouldn't worry about it too much, and it's probably not an indicator that your other doe is going to do anything. It's nothing to worry about, in my opinion. I would just go on with life. Don't stress unless it becomes a regular occurrence. All right, so Josh is here. Hey, he says hello, and hello to everyone. And hey, Chris, hope all is well with you. Thanks. Everything's going well. And Bethany says, hey, Chris, I can't tell if my Rex rabbits are obese. I can feel the spines and rib cage without pressing, but have trouble feeling individual ribs. So fat or not, help. Well, if you can feel the rib cage and you can feel the spine, whether you can feel individual ribs or not, you shouldn't really be able to feel individual ribs. Just feel the rib cage itself. They're probably fine. They don't sound like they're overweight to me. They sound like they're perfectly healthy and in the right shape. So hopefully that helps and put your mind at ease a little bit. Bobby says, hey, I actually made it again. Thanks, Bobby, for joining. We're glad to see you. Robert, good evening from chilly Minnesota. Yeah, it's a little bit chilly here, but not bad, actually. Today was a nice day. We got up to like 55 degrees. It was great. Robert says, Chris, do you increase the amount of feed after a doe gives birth, or do you keep them on a set amount? If you do increase the amount, how much? I don't want fat, lazy does, LOL. Yeah, once the rabbit gives birth, I keep her feeder full all the time. She gets as much food as she wants to eat because really within about 10 days, those babies are going to start venturing out of the nest box a little bit, and they'll start nibbling on her food pretty soon after that. So just keep it full, feed her as much as she wants to eat while she's nursing, and then you can cut her back down to regular portions whenever the babies are weaned. All right, hello to you, Boris. Susanna from Bermuda, hello to you. It's Susan, not Susanna, sorry. Owen Miller says, hi, how you doing? I'm doing well, thank you. Hopefully you are too. Josh says, service is bad, but I'm here, kind of. Well, hang in there as long as you can, and thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Hey there, Cruel Intentions says, hey, God bless my brother. Thank you very much. God bless you as well. You're no problem, Bethany. You're absolutely welcome. Hello to you, Fonda. And let's see, student Axel Jansen says, should I remove the nest box at 3 weeks, or should I flip it on its side? I have seen many people just flip the nest box on its side, or should I just flip it over? You can do either one you want to. You can put it on its side or not. What I typically do is I just remove it, usually between about 3-4 weeks, somewhere right around in there when the babies are just not really using it as much. Hey, looky there. There's a $1.99 super chat from Hunter Smith. He says, hello, my friend. Hello to you, Hunter. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that. So anyway, back to that. I don't set it on its side. You can do that if you want to. It's up to you. But really what I do is I watch the babies when they stop using it all the time. Because what you'll notice is, first they'll get out of the nest box, but they'll still be using it primarily most of the time. They'll be in it most of the time and venture out occasionally. And about 3 to 4 weeks old, somewhere right around in there, they're going to be spending almost all their time outside of the nest box, really not getting in it much at all. And at that point, I just take it out. I know a lot of people set it on their side. They want to give the doe a way to get away from the babies if she wants to, get up on top of the nest box. I don't find it's a big deal, but there's another one. Look at that. $5 super chat from Night Runner wants to know what is the best way to deal with ear mites. Well, let me get to that, but hang on just one second. Hopefully that answered your question about what you should do with the nest box. again, it's up to you how you want to do it. If you want to lay it on its side, go ahead and do it. I've never found it to be an issue. But all right, so the best way to deal with ear mites, it's pretty simple actually. I've got my buck's got ear mites right now. A couple of drops of any kind of edible oil, so olive oil, vegetable oil, mineral oil, anything that's edible. You would just take an eardrop or an eyedropper and just put a couple of drops in each ear once a day and do that until the scabs disappear, and then go every other day for another week and a half, just to make sure you got them all. And what I actually found is we've got some spray olive oil in a spray can, really handy. You just spray it in their ear. So you can do that either way you want to, but again, just using an edible oil, anything that's food grade, it's going to be fine to use, and it will get rid of the ear mites pretty quick. You'll notice within a couple of days they'll pretty much be gone. But then again, follow up every other day for another week just to make sure you get any residual ear mites out of there. So hopefully that answers that one for you, and I got that cleared up. It's pretty easy to deal with, honestly. Now, I will tell you, the rabbit's not going to like it when you go to put drops of oil in their ear. They're going to shake their head like crazy and probably run around the cage and not like it at all. But it's fine. All right, where are we at here? All right, there we go. Bill has got a question for us. What's your take on jumbo pharaohs versus jumbo meat makers? Honestly, I can't tell the difference. To me, they're pretty much the same bird. I just mixed mine up because I can't tell any difference between them. They're both, either one of them's a great option. You're not going to go wrong with either one that you get. Trap King says, how are you, Chris? You have been very helpful in helping me raise quail. Thank you. Well, awesome. I'm glad you're finding the videos helpful, and thanks for joining the live broadcast. Dylan says, how do I get my quail to not always fly? Not always fly. So I'm guessing when you open the cage up, they go crazy and they start flying around or something like that. I mean, aside from spending a whole lot of time with them, bringing them a lot of treats and kind of taming them up, I'm not sure there's a whole lot you can do. I don't know if it's a big problem for you. Mine tend to calm down after a while. Like when they're young, every time I approach, they freak out. They start fluttering around and flying around. But as they get older, I'm coming to feed, I'm coming to bring them water, I'm coming to, those kinds of things. They kind of get used to it. They don't necessarily, I don't spend that much time with them, so they're not necessarily tame where they come right up to me, but they don't try to fly around anymore. They just kind of walk to the other side of the cage. So, I would say just give them a little bit of time. They'll probably calm down a little bit, bring them some treats maybe, find something they really like mealworms or something like that, and spend a lot of time with them, and they'll eventually tame up. Val says, hey, Chris, going to get some geese for my family in the spring to have as food livestock, just in case with the way things have been going out in the world. I already have my own farm planned out when I grow up. Awesome, Val. Well, hopefully, I don't blame you. It's always good to have food securities, regardless of what you think's going on in the world or not. It's always good to have food security because you never know what's going to happen in your, regardless of what's happening in the world, what's going to happen in your little, section of the world. You could have loss of a job. You could have, any number of things can happen. It's always good to have that food security. And congratulations on your new geese. Hopefully they do well, and good luck with your farm plans as you grow older. All right. Tuna Town says, I noticed when processing males or moving birds to another cage, one will seem to get nervous and start drooling. Is this normal? Yeah, that's pretty normal when you're handling them a lot. Sometimes they get nervous, and a lot of times they will drool, or it's like regurgitating water and stuff. It's pretty normal. It happens quite a bit. All right, Trapper TV says, hey, thank you so much. Your channel is amazing. I've learned so much. I doubt I would be doing this without your help and knowledge. Again, thanks a million. You're absolutely welcome, and thank you for watching the videos. I appreciate it. Tuna Town says, I noticed when processing males or moving birds. Okay, that's the same question I already answered. Somebody's talking to Dylan. I'll let you guys talk to each other. Susan says, how many weeks before I take the kits from the mother? Good question. That's a pretty common one. No earlier than 6 weeks. 6 weeks is about the earliest you want to remove them from the mother. I usually give them between 6 to 7 weeks at least. Most of the time, if I've got babies that are growing out fast and they're getting to grow out weight by 8 weeks, I just leave them with the mother the whole time. But you can remove them from the mother as early as 6 weeks, just no earlier than that. They're still not completely weaned by 6 weeks usually. Mostly, but give them 6 weeks at least. That's it. So hopefully that answered that for you. All right. Josiah says, we got our incubator about 2 weeks ago. We got our turner yesterday, and our quail rails came in today. Awesome. Nothing like getting new toys in the mail, huh? So congratulations, and good luck with your hatches. Robert says, I use drop-down nest box and can't be happier. I've never lost a kit. You should really try it, Chris. I'll never go back to nesting boxes. I've heard a lot of good things about drop-down nest boxes. I may go ahead and do that at some point, but right now, things are working pretty well for me. So thanks for the recommendation, though. I will take a look at them, and like I said, maybe someday I will change over to them. All right, Renee says, Dylan, try putting them in a pen that is covered. Otherwise, you're going to breed wild quail. They will always try to fly away if allowed. So is that what you're talking about, Dylan? You said, how do I get my quail to not always fly? Yeah, I'm not sure if you're talking about flying away or not, but yeah, I mean, I'm assuming you have them in a covered pen. They're just flying whenever you come up to bother them. Anyway, hopefully you got it figured out. All right, Glow says, good night, Chris. Hope everything is great. However, my doe had kindled unexpected to me, but the problem is I found one outside the cage about 1 to 2 feet away from the cage. I'm wondering if it crawled so far. Probably so. I always put on your doe's cages, whether you're expecting babies or not, just go ahead and do it. Put some what they call baby saver wire, which is like 1/2 inch square wire around the edge, like basically what you use for the floor. So if you've got like 1 inch by 2 inch wire on the sides, or 1 inch by 1 inch, or whatever, a kit can squeeze through that, and they'll start squirming around. They'll squeeze right through that, end up on the ground, and maybe squirm a little bit further before they, kind of give up, so to speak. So yeah, it probably did crawl that way. All right. Faye and Me says, I'm glad I can make it tonight. I'm glad you can make it tonight too. Thank you. Jackie says, hey, Chris, God bless you and all your family. Enjoy all the live chats and videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Lynch says, hello, do you have a rough weight estimate for kits that are 2 weeks old? New Zealand Flemish cross. I know there are many factors, but looking for some numbers for reference. Let's see, 2 weeks old. I'd be surprised if they're much over a pound and a half at the most at that point. And Flemish giants tend to grow out, in my experience, Flemish giant tends to grow out very, very slow. So they may be a little bit under that weight. Just give them some time, they'll catch up. That's just a guess off the top of my head. I don't know that I've ever weighed my 2 week old kits before. Sorry, I don't know. I can't give you an exact specific. I'm just kind of guessing based on what the size of a 2 week, actually a 2 week old kit is probably going to be much smaller than a pound. It's probably going to be more like 1/2 pound, 3/4 of a pound, maybe something like that. Maybe even smaller than that, honestly. I don't know. I haven't ever weighed them. I'm just guessing based on thinking about how big a 2 week old kit. They're not very big. You're looking at about like that long and maybe that big around. I mean, they're not huge. So I'm sorry I can't answer that one better for you. All right, Arthur says, hello, one of my newborn quail has a slanted leg. It always funny and dragging on the floor. Will this heal over time? Maybe. What you're discussing or what you're saying doesn't sound to me like splayed leg. It sounds more like maybe they got a broken leg or something like that. It may or may not heal. It's hard to say for sure. You'd have to really, I don't know. I don't know exactly what's wrong with it to tell you whether it will heal or not. If it is a situation where it's like splayed leg, where maybe the legs turned sideways or crooked or something, you might try putting it in, like building some kind of leg brace for it, basically, that's going to force it to hold its legs straight underneath it. Put it in a shot glass or something like that with its legs underneath it and force it that way. And do that for 12 hours, 18 hours, something like that. Just leave it in there overnight and see if that helps correct it. A lot of times it's just those tendons, they don't get them stretched out right. That's the same thing that can cause splayed leg. But if it's only one leg, it's kind of odd for that to be the case. But sometimes you can fix that with, like I said, some kind of leg brace, or put them in a shot glass or something that forces their leg underneath them. It'll stretch that tendon out and then they'll be okay. Sometimes. All right, Maria says, hello from Buckeye, Arizona. Hello to you. Hey there, Tanner says, I've been wondering, are you rich? No, I'm not rich. I wish, and actually, I don't know if I wish I was rich or not. That can be a double-edged sword, I think. I think if you've got, too much money and then you can become, what's the Bible say? The love of money is the root of all evil. So I don't know that I wish I was rich. Maybe wish I didn't have to worry about money so much. But no, I'm not rich. I'm not what you would call poor. I'm probably middle class right now. I grew up pretty poor. Never in my life have I been rich. But, hey, it's okay. Axel says, I love your videos so much. They're so helpful. Whenever I have a question about something, I go to your channel, and most of the time you have a video on it. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're finding the videos helpful. Renee says, have you ever had breeding issues during the winter? My buck had 3 fall-offs, but no babies on January 1st. Rebred one on the 3rd of January in hopes of a February kits. Bred her 2 times, 5 days apart, 4 fall-offs each. Not really. I don't think I've ever had really breeding problems in the wintertime like that. It could be a number of different things. Who knows? It could be your buck that's sterile. It could be just a false pregnancy, or for whatever reason, a failed pregnancy for the doe. Sometimes that happens, and it could happen for a number of different reasons. I don't know that it's, just one time where it didn't take. I don't know if that's anything to worry about. Try again, keep trying. And, I would say if this other doe does not end up having babies, then it's probably a sign that there's something wrong with your buck. He may be aging out. He may be sterile for some reason, whatever. And if he hasn't had success before, it may just be a problem that he has. But otherwise, I wouldn't worry about it until you have proof. It doesn't do you any good to worry anyway. Give him some time. That's all I can tell you, unfortunately. All right, Ricky says, we're looking for land around Max's Creek, Missouri. Are you around that area going to miss warm Florida? I'm not sure, Max's Creek or Max Creek. Let me look that up, because I don't know where Max's Creek, Missouri is. Yeah, Max Creek, M-A-C, I think. Either there's Max Creek in Taney County, Missouri, or there's Max Creek, and that's, well, there's a couple of Max Creek, actually. I don't know which one you're talking about exactly, so I don't know if I'm near that. We have, there is a Max Creek, M-A-C''S, in Missouri. I don't think that's the name of the township that it's in. It's near Pineville, Missouri, Anderson, Missouri, in that area right there. It's not too far from me. I don't know if that's the area you're talking about or not. So I don't know. Maybe I'm close. That's not too far. That's 45-minute drive. Maria says, I just harvested 22 Cornish cross chickens this last Sunday. Thank you for encouraging me to do that. Awesome. Congratulations. And you're absolutely welcome. Excuse me. Kit Kat Kitty says, I've heard that I shouldn't sell my rabbits for free on Craigslist. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, what? I don't know what I'm not sure what you're asking me. You say, I heard that I shouldn't sell my rabbits, my baby rabbits, for free on Craigslist. Should I not? Because I don't really want to sell them for like $40 to $50. And that, I've heard, is normal. I don't know. Are you saying you want to give them away for free on Craigslist and people are telling you shouldn't do it, but you should? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what the question is there. If you're asking me if you should sell them or if you should give them away for free, I don't know that I can answer that. That's kind of your decision. Let's see. There's a little bit more here. Nope, that's a question. I'm sorry. I'm sorry there, Kit Kat. I don't know exactly what you're asking me, so I'm not sure I can answer that one for you. Nelson says, any suggestions for preventing manure from sticking to the quail's feet? Chickens don't seem to have this problem. I've got a big sandbox, and I don't really have a problem with it. I know that, occasionally they'll get some stuck to them. If you're using a solid ground floor, the answer is just going to be cleaning. Lots and lots of cleaning, because they make a huge mess. Now, if you've got wire cages, you may look at your wire size. It may be a little too small. It's not letting the droppings fall through. I think I use a 1/2 inch square hardware cloth for the floor. I think that's right. I have to think about it. And the droppings fall through, and in the sandbox, that seems to help a lot with keeping their feet a lot cleaner. They get in there and kick around, and that just kind of, it just rubs whatever's on their feet off. So that seems to work pretty well for me. I'm not sure what other problems you may be having with them, so hopefully that helps. Where are we at here? Kit Kat says, how do you How do you when a doe is in labor? Have you been there for labor or birth? How do you when? Are you asking me how do you know when a doe is in labor? I've seen the rabbits giving birth before. It's pretty rare. Sometimes you wander up on them just as they're giving birth. I don't know if there's real good signs when they're in labor. I'm there may be. I don't know that I've ever noticed any kind other than they just tend to get in the nest box. They start licking their area where they're going to have the babies. Let's see how I can say that without getting flagged by YouTube. And they really it's pretty obvious what's going on usually when they're having their babies. But I don't know if there's any signs of them being in labor. Maybe some heavy. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that I've ever noticed anything. Robert says, I live in Florida and am an avid kayak fisherman. If you find your way south, let's go fishing. I have everything you'll need. Peacock bass, maybe. Yeah, I'd love to do that. That sounds like a lot of fun. I've heard those peacock bass are great for, put up a great fight. They're great for fishing. I'd love to do it. Don't know if I'll ever make it down to Florida or not, but if I do, I'll have to look you up for sure. All right. Keith wants to know what kind of gun I carry. I carry a Springfield XD subcompact, 9mm. Sillamore says, hey, Chris and all from North Central Arkansas. Hello to you. Hunter says, Amy, did you make it tonight? I'm not sure what that is. Okay. And Arthur says, thank you. You're awesome, brother. You're absolutely welcome. Susan, I have a 2-story cage, but I close off the ramp down to the bottom of the cage. The kits are 5 weeks old. Can I open back up the ramp? I would think so. I've never used a ramp in my cages, but I don't see any reason why not. I think they should be able to make it up and down that ramp just fine at 5 weeks old. Let's see. Generational Homestead says, how long after a fire should you rebreed your rabbits if they're not injured physically? After a fire? I don't know. I've never had that situation, but I would think that if they're not injured, you should be able to breed them right away. I don't see why that would make any difference. Maybe I'm not understanding completely. All right. And then Jeff says, good evening, everyone, from Thibodaux, I think it is. Thibodaux, Louisiana. I'm very bad with those names, but hopefully I got it. Michael says, new fan from South Texas. Thank you for the video. Thank you for the videos. Very informative. Just ordered my first 50 hatching eggs from MyShire. Awesome. Well, thank you for watching the videos. I'm glad you're finding them helpful. And you got a great supplier there. MyShire is a great supplier. You're going to get, hopefully, great results from your eggs. And I know they're going to ship you a quality product. Just, hopefully you get a great hatch rate out of it too. So good luck with that. All right, Keith wants to know what got me into YouTube. Boy, that's crazy. It's hard for me to answer that question because I don't remember exactly. Let me grab a drink here. I know at the time I was single. I'm kind of a natural born teacher anyway. I just kind of have the spirit of a teacher. I like to teach people things, and so I just thought, well, I'm building this rabbit cage. That was my first video, building this rabbit cage, and I'd looked up some videos online about other people building rabbit cages, and thought, hey, I can do that. So I just did it, and then people watched it and liked it, and it's a terrible video, by the way. My very first videos, very bad. I wasn't good at making videos, but anyway, it just kind of went from there. I don't know why exactly. I just did, and I'm glad I did. This has been a great experience. All right. And Axel wants to know, how much money do you make off of YouTube? Well, I make a little bit of money off of YouTube. It varies drastically from month to month. There were a couple of months where I made a pretty good amount, like close to $1,000. But then it's dropped back down pretty significantly. Somewhere around $600 is probably about average on a monthly basis. There are costs that come out of that, so that's not $600 pure profit, because there's software that I use to edit videos with. There's a couple of different things that I pay for to kind of help me with the process of getting videos done a little bit quicker. So it's not bad. I mean, it's a decent amount, but it's not, it's helping me pay off some of my wife's medical bills, that's for sure, but it's not making me rich, if that's what you're wondering. A. Jones says, checking in to say hi from Northeast tip of Ohio. Awesome. Thank you for stopping by. Josh says, I use the drop downs as well. Great for first time mamas, but they all seem to like the drop down boxes better. Good. Like I said, I may have to look into those at some point. I've never tried them before. I mean, I've seen them plenty of times and thought about them, but I've actually never used them myself. All right. Joe says, my jumbo Coturnix quail are laying at 6 to 7 weeks. Eggs seem small. Will they get bigger in a few weeks? Cold weather. You know, a lot of times the first couple of eggs that they lay are small. Sometimes you'll get like a great big one and then a little bitty one and then, you know, weird double yolk eggs. I mean, you get that when they first start laying, especially if they're laying early 6 to 7 weeks. Whether they'll get bigger or not, I don't know, because I don't know if the eggs you're getting are normal size eggs or if they're oddball one-off eggs. You know, it's hard for me to say for sure. I don't notice usually a huge difference in the first couple of eggs that they lay, assuming they're not one of those weird off the wall type eggs, and eggs they're laying later on. They may get slightly bigger, but I don't know that I've ever really noticed that. They're not eggs, you know, quail eggs are not really big eggs anyway. So, I mean, you expect, I usually count about 4 of them to equal 1 chicken egg. So, if that gives you an idea. All right, Gary B says, hi, Chris, enjoying listening tonight. Everyone, have a good night. My quail are doing okay, waiting on our young ducks to reach age this spring and start laying. Well, thanks for joining us, Gary B. I appreciate that, and glad to hear things are going well for you. Sillamore says, hit the thumbs up. Thank you, Sillamore. I appreciate that. Paul says, hey, Chris, I only buy free rabbits on Craigslist. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. If you can get free rabbits, that's a good way to get them. Nelson says, any suggestions for preventing manure from freezing to the quail's feet? Chickens. I think I already answered that question. Did I jump down in the comments in the back? I don't know. Maybe I did. I don't know. All right, Wyatt says, have a light on my quail and have had it on them for a week. They aren't laying. What should I do? They get 16 hours a day. Give them another week. You're probably going to see, even with a light on them, that will keep them laying in the wintertime. But we're in the darkest part of winter right now. So even with extra light, even if it is getting up to 16 hours a day, it's not going to be like in the summertime where you get an egg a day per bird. Sometimes there's going to be, oh, calm down, puppy. I don't know if you guys can hear the dog crying. Come here, Max. Here, come. Come up here and say hi. Come on. There he is. There he is. Okay. He wants out. Off. Good. Down. He's not going to stay there very long. He's going to cry. Where was I going with that? Okay, so you're not going to get like real consistent egg production. What I usually get out of my birds at this time of year, because like I said, we just passed the, what is it, the solstice or the winter solstice, shortest day in the year. I think that's it. Yeah, the winter solstice, I believe, is what we just passed not too long ago, like a week or two. So if you live in North America anyway, the days are starting to get longer, but they're the short, I mean, it's the darkest part of the year in a way. So what you're going to see, usually what I see out of my birds is, you know, I'll get about half of them laying one day and then the other half of them laying the other day. Then they may take a day off and then they may all lay that day. And then I may only get 3 eggs the next day. It's a little bit sporadic. It does keep them laying. It's just this time of year for this, usually about the 1st of December, mid-December to about middle of January is pretty spotty. But give them another week. It takes a couple of weeks usually when they start getting that light for them to really start laying eggs. Chances are any day now you're going to start getting some eggs out of them. All right. Kitty says, yes, I would like to give them away, but I've heard that I shouldn't because they could end up as food or a situation I don't want them to be in. Oh, okay. So yeah, if you're worried about, first things I would say is, you know, don't breed your rabbits if you're not going to keep them yourself and you're not going to eat them. You're not going to do any of those kinds of things with them. Just don't breed them. That would be my suggestion for that. And I'm not picking on you. I don't mean that as a bad thing, but then you're stuck in this situation where what do you do with them? And I hate to tell you that even if you do sell them, there's a good chance that they're going to get eaten or, you know, something like that anyway. I mean, that's just a lot of people buy them for that reason. Now, if you do sell them for a little bit more, if they're like a pet breed, like a specialty pet breed, like a lop or something like that, people will pay more for those and make pets out of them. And that's okay too, but that's, again, not a guarantee that something's not going to happen to that rabbit in the long run. I mean, you just don't know. Sometimes people buy rabbits, especially people buy rabbits for their kids. They buy them as a pet, don't realize what goes into it, and then that pet becomes a nuisance to them, and then they just let it go where it gets eaten by a dog or a cat. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just saying that's just reality. There's not much you can do to fix that. Unfortunately, once you get rid of that rabbit, whether you gave it away or sold it, it's no longer your deal. It's theirs, and you just don't have any guarantees with it. So, if you want to just give them away, give them away. Don't stress about it. Try to find somebody maybe that wants pets, and you can try it that way. All right. Let's see. Tylen, I think it is. Hey, Chris, I'm new with raising rabbits. How do I tell if my rabbit is pregnant? Well, if you bred your rabbit, then count her as pregnant. If you saw, the male actually mount, fall off, assume she's pregnant. It's incredibly hard to tell if a rabbit's pregnant for sure or not. So, give her 25, 26 days, and then about that time, go out with a handful of straw every day and put it in her cage. And when she starts running around with it, hanging out her mouth, both sides, it'll be pretty obvious. Then she's ready to build a nest, she's pregnant, she's going to have babies. Otherwise, give her 35, 36 days after you think she was bred. And if she hasn't had babies by then, she probably wasn't pregnant. So, that's all I can tell you, unfortunately. It's really hard. You can palpate to see, but that's incredibly difficult. And especially if you don't have experience doing it. Hey, there's a super chat. Well, thank you, Solomore. $5 super chat, just because. And thanks for all your dedication and time. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Where was I going? Telling if a rabbit is pregnant. Again, it's really hard, especially if you don't have experience doing it, trying to palpate a doe where you put your hand underneath them, you feel up in there, feel for the babies. So even if you try that and you don't feel anything, doesn't mean she wasn't pregnant. It's just, I don't have a great answer for you. I'm sorry. All right, Renee says, if I didn't want to sell the bunnies for $40, but I didn't want to give them away, sell them for $10 each. Good point. The reason it's bad to give them away is because bad owners getting them. Yeah, that's a good point, Renee. That's probably better than the advice I gave, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. You can just sell them for $10. There's nothing saying that, if you want to get rid of them, but you don't want them to go to a bad home, you don't want to sell them for $40 or $50, sell them for 10 or 15. There's nothing wrong with that. Anybody that is serious about getting a rabbit can pay $10 or $15 for it. Paul says, if you take your quail on a long walk a couple of times a day, they don't poop in the cage as much. Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Josh says, you woke up healthy and believing in the Lord. You are very rich, but not the monetary reason. That's a good point, Josh. You're right. I am rich in a lot of ways. I'm very blessed, but not monetarily rich. So I should clarify. All right, Wild Spirit says, hi, would moving a doe inside then back outside right before she gives birth, can that cause the kit to all die? I don't think it would. I don't see any reason why it would. Rabbits are not, they're somewhat fragile animals, but they're not that fragile. Just moving them from one cage to another shouldn't affect the kits. I wouldn't think so. I don't know any reason why it would. All right. Kitty says, what is the normal amount for rabbits for the second litter? If you would like to know, she's a Holland Lop. So you mean what's the normal number of babies for them to have? I'm not sure on Holland Lops. I know, I raise meat rabbits, so I raise New Zealand's and California's, and they're normally 8 to 9 babies per litter, but they're bred to be big producers. So I don't know on a Holland Lop what the normal size of their litter is. All right. Flock and Family says, watching live with the parents. Awesome. Thank you for all you do. Hope you and yours are doing well. Thank you very much. I hope you, and we are doing well. Thank you. I hope you and your family are doing well as well. Thank you for joining the live broadcast. Paul says, I put my rabbits near the fire prior to eating them. Yeah, well, okay. That's a good way to do it, I guess. Generational homestead. I didn't know stress would affect breeding. Are you talking about breeding rabbits? Hey, hang on just a second, guys. I think my dog is getting into something he shouldn't. Oh, gee. I thought Max was doing something. All right, let's try that again. Sorry. All right. Didn't know stress would affect breeding. If you're talking about with rabbits, I guess it could. I guess if they're really stressed, yeah, it could definitely affect breeding. All right, Axel says, should I remove the nest box for my baby rabbits even if they were having a very cold weather? We're having it down to about 15 degrees Fahrenheit at night. If they're if they're like 4 to 5 weeks old and they're not really using the nest box much at all anyway, it's fine. Don't worry about the cold. The cold's not gonna bother them that much. If you're worried about it, just leave it in there. There's no reason not to. All right. Let's see. Bezzy, I think it is. Good evening, Chris. Thank you for all your insight and advice. You're absolutely welcome. Thank you for watching. Fonda says, I bought a buck and he's definitely sterile. 3 does, twice each, no kits. My old buck bred the same doe and 3 great litters. How often does that happen? It says I have Angoras. I don't know that it happens very often at all, honestly. I've never had that problem with a buck. How old is he though is a question, because he may just not be quite old enough yet. Most of the time they're ready to breed at 6 months, but sometimes it takes them a little bit longer to mature. So, it may be one of those situations where you just need to give them a little bit more time and try them again. Susan says, thank you, Chris, for all your help. You are absolutely welcome. All right, Kitty says, and if that last question was a little confusing, how many babies or kits are normal for? Okay, yeah, I think I got that answered the best I could. Wyatt says, how many birds do you keep? Let's see, right now I've probably got, a dozen or so, 13, 20. I got close to 30 birds, I think. In the summertime, I usually keep somewhere around that many, and then it spikes up whenever I, hatch out a bunch, and then spikes up for about 8 weeks, and then it goes back down to about 25 to 30, somewhere right around in there. The wintertime, I've just been kind of lazy, and I haven't processed that other batch of quail. Otherwise, I'd be down to about 13 birds. So I'll probably get that done maybe this weekend. I don't know. Anyway. Ryan says, are your lights still available for order? Not at the moment. I've already placed an order for everybody that already prepaid for them. So I'm waiting for that to come in. I did get a little bit of an overage on them, so we'll see how many I get when it's all said and done, and then I may end up being able to offer a few more up, but at this point, I don't. So we'll have to wait until the order comes through. All right. Johnny says, greetings from Australia. A question, have you had any luck with splay legs? It's hit or go. I've had a few of them that I've been able to correct it on, but most of the time it's really difficult, and I don't know, maybe half the time it works, half the time it doesn't work. That's about it. Todd says, hey, Chris from Crete, Illinois, when can we see more recipe videos? I need to do more of them, don't I? I'll see what I can do. I'll try to come up with some pretty soon. Bob says, hey, Chris, do you plan on doing anything differently when you retire? Maybe ramping up rabbit, quail, or egg production for sale, raising other animals, growing a larger garden, any other hobbies? Good question. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead. I'll probably do a lot of fishing, a lot of hunting, a lot of outdoor kind of stuff, because it's just stuff I really enjoy doing. I don't know if I'll ramp up or not. Maybe. It depends. If I still live in the house I live in, I can't really get too big. I live in town. So I've got to keep it kind of under control, or it becomes a problem. Who knows? We'll see. That's a long time from now, and what I'm into at the time may change, quite a bit. I tend to get these hobbies going, and they last for 6 months or so, and then I'm on to the next hobby. So we'll see. All right. Josh says rabbit dumplings. I'm not sure what that was a response to, but okay. Gingerbeard says, hey, Chris, about to wrap up the major part of the barrel pontoon boat my boys and I are building. 8x16, gonna do some camping on it. Well, awesome. Sounds like fun. Wild Spirit says, we found 2 beautiful white rabbit long hair. Someone just let them go. The doe had 5 kits. The buck took 3 weeks to catch. Now they're healthy and happy. Hey, you can't beat it with free rabbits, right? Okay, I gotta let the dog out real quick. Hang on. He's just sure there's something out there to chase. There you go. Go out there and get it. Oh, could be the fox's back or something. You never know. He sometimes just goes out there and barks at nothing. Yeah, so you got 2 free rabbits, basically. Somebody let go. Well, congratulations. Maybe they let him go, or maybe they got loose. It could be either way. I always make that assumption. Oh, they just let him go. But you never know. Maybe they just got loose. Maybe they busted their way out of the cage somehow or another. Where are we at here? Thibodeau is how it's said. Thank you, Renee. I appreciate that. All right. Niall Higgins says, do California quail do well inside? I don't know. I've never kept California quail. I'm not really that familiar with them. I believe it depends on where you live. You're going to have to probably have a permit for them because they're a native bird. And I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't do okay inside, but I don't know that for sure. Fonda says 1.5 years old. Okay, the buck is 1.5 years old. The one that was, okay. Yeah, it sounds like you may have a problem with him. I mean, you might try him again just to see, but, it does sound like you may have a buck that is sterile for one reason or another. All right, Chris says, good evening from Arkansas. Good evening to you. Josh says palpating is very hard to do. Yeah, I agree. It is very difficult to do. How are we doing on time? About 20 minutes left. It is very tricky. And if you're not somebody, I mean, if you don't have a lot of experience doing it, and even if you do, it's still really, really tricky to do. And it's not one of those things where it's such a surefire thing that if you didn't feel baby, she's not pregnant. It's hard. All right. Rod says, do you think crossbreeding purebred meat rabbits for most efficient meat production is the way to go? It's definitely a good way to go. There is such a thing as hybrid vigor. So you get two purebred rabbits that are different breeds, a California buck, a New Zealand white doe, or vice versa, whatever. But they're purebred rabbits. And then you breed them together. That first offspring, the first level, their offspring will have what they call hybrid vigor. And they tend to be, you tend to have less problems with illness, less problems with, like stillborns or any of those kinds of things. It's a really good way to go about it. Now, the problem is that only lasts for one generation. So if you keep any of those as breeders, well, then you don't get that same benefit from them. But it is a good way to go about breeding for meat rabbits. Keith says, have you been hunting much? Yeah, I've been hunting a lot. If you mean like this year, I went deer hunting a little bit before gun season when in bow season. And then during gun season, which is only 10 days here, I went, the 2 weekends of gun season, didn't get a deer, missed out on one this year. But, turkey season's coming. It's only a couple of months away. So hopefully I'll get a turkey. I haven't got a turkey in the last couple of years, but you never know. Maybe I'll get one this year. Zach says, thanks for the info on MFA and Neosho. I stopped and grabbed a couple of bags and got pricing on other feeds as well. Awesome. MFA is a great supplier for quail food. If you're in the area, it's a lot cheaper than a lot of the other places. All right, Gerald says, best small incubator to start with for 120 egg size. Probably a Hovabator would be my guess on that. I use a little giant. It's about that size. But I'm looking at my incubator for some reason. I got it up on a shelf up here now. I installed some shelves up here to get some of the... I just had junk piling up in here, so I installed some shelves and got stuff stacked up there. But yeah, Hovabator, and I can't ever remember the model number. Somebody in here will remember the model number. But get the forced air one with the egg turner in it. That's going to be great. All right. Chris says, hey, Chris, I just picked up 3 ducks, and one is a drake. How long can I keep fertilized eggs? Best way to keep them? How cold can they get and still be viable? It's cold in Minnesota. You can usually keep fertile eggs about 7 days. After that, the hatch rate, success rate off those really starts to drop. Anything below about 55 degrees is really going to be, you don't know for sure how that's going to affect the eggs. Try to keep them between about 55 degrees Fahrenheit, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. In that range right there. Probably more like 65 degrees Fahrenheit is the high range. If you can keep them in that range, they'll store for about 7 days before you have to incubate them. Now, if you're talking about like collecting them because it's so cold outside, and it depends on how long they're at that temperature. Try it. There's no reason why you shouldn't try and see. Who knows? All right. Fonda says, I raise Angoras for dual duty, fiber for spinning and for meat. The buck is not producing. To the freezer he goes. Yep, there's nothing wrong with that plan. Jason says, we love your content on quail. Plan to raise some this spring. Do you have any insight on what? Insight. I think that's insight. Do you have any insight on mini Angus? No, I don't really know anything about them. I'm sorry. Sounds interesting, but no, I don't have any information. All right, Axel says, do you eat the quail eggs you get? Yeah, I eat a lot of eggs. Yes, I do. Eric says, normally we have a question for you, but this week we don't. Just enjoy your show. We think you've done a great job. Thanks for helping so helping so many, I think it is. God bless you and your family. Thank you very much, Eric. And God bless you and your family as well. Um, Axel says, I meant quail eggs, not rabbit eggs on the last one. I got it. We figured it out. Fonda says, thank you, Chris. You've helped me with my rabbits and quail. You're a godsend. I have to go. Have a great night. Well, thank you for the kind comments, and you have a great night as well. Daryl says, getting my farrow and A&M Saturday. Super excited. It just says excited. I have a self-built cabinet incubator with 4-row Turner. Love your info. Keep it up. Coming from, is it Abbeville, South Carolina? Well, congratulations on your new birds, and good job on building your own incubator. I haven't actually done that myself. So hopefully it works well, and good luck with all that. Riverside says, are you anxious to get your garden started? I am a little bit anxious for that. I'm going to be doing some winter sowing this year as well. It worked out really well last year, so I'm going to do it again this year. Try it with some peppers and a couple other things. So yeah, I'm anxious to get it going, but I've got to, I don't want to start too early. I've done that before, and it just becomes a big problem. You've got plants that just outgrow their containers or whatever, and there's nowhere to put them. So I'm going to wait. It'll probably be, like towards the end of March, maybe the beginning of April before I actually start. Keith says, how old is your dog? Are you asking how old? Yeah, how old is your dog? There, we got it. Let's see. He is 4 years old, roughly, something like that. I don't know. About 4. When we got him, right after we got married, and he was probably 12 weeks old when we got him. So he's roughly 4 years old, somewhere right around in there. He's a good dog. He's and you guys have probably, some of you guys know how he injured himself, but he's healed up just fine. He's probably the best dog I've ever had, actually. We invested in some training, and it was really helpful. So very happy with all that. All right, you guys may notice I'm starting to ramble a little bit because I don't have anything in here to answer. There's a question. Comes from Axel, says, what's your favorite rabbit recipe? Oh boy, that's a tough one. There's a lot of different ways. One of my favorite things to do with rabbits is, I go to the store and I get those McCormick bag-in seasonings. So it's like a seasoning package. It comes in a little bag. It's got it's for chicken. And you take the bag out, like a little plastic bag. Yeah, you're supposed to put vegetables in the bottom, chicken on there, and you sprinkle the seasoning over it, tie the bag off, and bake it. And I just replace the chicken with rabbit and use rabbit in it. It's really good. I like it quite a bit. Let's see what else. Enchiladas. Rabbits make good enchiladas. Boy, that Cajun pasta I made with quail, I did a video on that a couple of weeks ago. That was a really good recipe with rabbit in it too. There's a couple of them to shoot for. All right, Keith says, when's the best time of year to get quail in Massachusetts? Well, I guess whenever you can. I'm not sure there is a best time of year necessarily. If you're worried about it, get them in the spring. It's a little bit easier at that point if you're not dealing with, water freezing and those kinds of things. But I don't know that, especially if you're getting chicks. If you're getting like babies, I would wait until you're past any kind of freezing temperatures. You don't have to worry about, brooding them. Like, it's not going to be as difficult to brood them and to get them out there. It's a little bit easier at that point. But other than that, I don't know that there's a best time of year. They're incredibly cold hardy birds. So if you get adults, you can get them anytime you want. Mouse Grower says, I just had 14 rabbit given to me yesterday. Now I'm up to 21 breeders. My goodness, that's a lot. So, well, congratulations on the new rabbits, but 21 breeders, that's a whole lot of rabbits. Let's see. Beardsley says, trying to breed my female bunny after she's killing all of them. Huh. Will she become pregnant right away? Yeah, I'd give her... Now, okay, let's see. You're trying to breed your female rabbit after she killed all her young, I think is what you're saying. After she killed her whole litter. Will she get pregnant right away? Give her a week or two. Let her heal up a little bit from the birth. And if she does that again, that's a very bad sign. I would look at getting a new mother rabbit at that point. But, give her another chance, see. Who knows? Maybe it was a fluke thing. All right, Zach says, how many quail do you usually have during the summer? I think I already answered that, but usually I keep somewhere around 25, 30, somewhere right around in there. And again, it it really bumps up quite a bit whenever I've got youngs that I've hatched that I'm growing out for about 8 weeks, and then it drops back down. All right. Axel says, I debone the rabbit and wrap it in bacon. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. That sounds good. G. Michael wants to know, what breed is Max? He is a pit bull pointer mix, I believe. They called him a pointer at the well, we got him from the pound. He's a pound dog. Oh, you heard me talking about you, didn't you? Come on up here. Come on. But he is definitely a pit bull mix. He's, I think, pointer pit bull. He likes birds quite a bit, so the pointer would make sense. But he's got some pit bull in him. Pit bull mixes make the best dogs, in my opinion. I've had several of them, and they've all been great. All right, Daryl says, I've hatched a lot of chickens with it. Just ordered quail egg trays from GQF. We also raise Shih Tzus. Where's the best place to order quail eggs? Well, there's a couple of places. Kansas City Quail Farms is a great supplier. Can't go wrong with them. And My Shire Farms is also another good supplier. So either one of those you can order from. You're going to have good results. And let's see where we're at. Casey. Excuse me. We've got 10 minutes left. Casey says, I have some quail eggs hatched 2 days ago, and they all died with their necks up. Any clue what could cause this? Sounds like wryneck, which is usually an indicator that your incubator temperature was a little bit off. If wryneck develops a little bit later, like several days after they've hatched, then it could be a vitamin deficiency. But this sounds more like they died right away with it, and that's probably an incubator temperature issue. They may have hatched a little bit on the late side. That's usually what happens. Instead of hatching on day like 17, 18, they're hatching on day like 19, 20, or 21. Then that's probably because your incubator is actually running a little bit too cool. Get a couple of thermometers, non-digital. Make sure you calibrate them, make sure they're accurate. Throw them in your incubator and run it for a little while and see what they read. And so like if your incubator says it's 100 degrees in there, but they're actually showing it at 98, then you may need to bump your incubator up a couple of degrees to get it to 100, actually 100. So that would be my guess on that. That's the most common issue with that. If it is a vitamin deficiency, it's going to be probably vitamin E and thiamine would be the two vitamins, but that's usually not the case, especially if you're feeding them like a commercial game bird food. It should be fine. So it's probably incubator temperature. That'd be my guess. All right, Sillmore says, I sell quail eggs and have shipped eggs all over the country all times of the year with no problem. Well, there you go. Keith says, thank you. You're absolutely welcome. And Axel says, Keith Wheeler is your neighbor. He's watching the live video because you showed him my video. Well, thank you. Well, thanks for sharing the channel. And both of you guys, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. Riverside Country Club says, I butchered some of my rabbits, ground the meat, and makes awesome chili. Interesting. I wouldn't think they'd have enough fat in them to make, but who knows? I don't see why it wouldn't be a problem. G. Michael says, killer rabbit equals rabbit stew. That's what I say. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, especially if it's a reoccurring issue. If it's a one-time thing, I mean, weird things happen for whatever reason. But if it's an ongoing issue, then for sure freezer camp is the way to go. All right. Axel says, I'm passing on your channel to all my friends. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. TH55269, good to see you again, by the way. Says, overall, how did you like the meat chicken run you did? Oh, yeah, it was well worth it. Loved it. It was great. We've still got some chicken. We haven't gone through it all. We just had chicken for dinner last night and the night before. Definitely worth doing. Oh, excuse me. I got an itch here. Sillmore says, he looks a lot like my dog. Really? Interesting. G. Michael says, I have an American Pit Bull. They're beautiful dogs. Yeah, I think so too. They are. Ron, is there a problem ordering quail eggs from a lower elevation from where we live? We are in Colorado. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think so, but I've never actually tried that. I think the bigger problem would be worrying about the eggs drying out. That can be a problem with eggs. So if you live in a really dry climate, which I would assume that, higher elevations in Colorado would be a drier climate. I don't know that for sure, though. Humidity might be an issue or lack thereof with the eggs drying out. But I don't know that the elevation is going to make much of a difference in it. I haven't tried, though. I don't know. G. Michael says, do you give your quails any type of free choice vitamins or minerals? No, I feed them a commercial game bird food. It's got everything that they need in it. It's not a problem. But if you want to, go ahead and do it. There's no reason, not to necessarily, but I don't. All right. Michael says, I'm building a 3-tier pen for my new quail arriving, 6 foot long, 2 foot deep. Thinking about dividing the top tier into 3 2x2 breeder pens and leaving the bottom 2 6x2 grow out pens. Any thoughts? That sounds like a pretty good idea. I guess just the question is, how do you, just make sure you have your waste management plan planned out. If you're building cages on top of each other, you're gonna have to have something to catch the droppings and easy enough to clean off. That would be the only thing that I would say. Think about that real hard. Make sure it's easy to clean off. Droppings don't roll off of things, so you may have something slanted, but you're still going to have to manually clean it off. So you're going to have to think about how you're going to do that. That may be something as easily as like you could build like a squeegee type thing on a handle. You could just push the stuff back into a bucket or something. I don't know. But yeah, it sounds like a great idea. Sounds like you got a good plan. All right. Roy says, hey, Chris, my name is Roy from San Antonio, Texas. I have 3 female quails. It's been 2 months, still no eggs. I hear they can lay with no males. Any advice? Thank you. God bless. Well, if they got to have light. They got to have 16 hours a day of light. It's wintertime right now, so unless you've got external lights on them, they're not going to lay until summer. That's just the way it is. You're going to have to wait till the days get longer, and then they'll start laying. But that's it. So I wish I had better advice for you, but that's all there is to it. So, all right, Josh says, good night, all, and God bless. Thank you, Josh. God bless you, too, and good night to you. Riverside, I add a little beef fat to my rabbit meat for chili. There, that makes sense. Keith says, how many meat chickens did you do? We did 25 meat chickens, and it worked out really well. I think we lost, I don't know that we lost any. Did we lose one maybe in the brooder? But either way, it worked out great. Daniel says, hey, Chris, love the channel, and I was wondering when my Coturnix quails are going to lay, and they're about 5 weeks old. God bless you. Well, kind of the same question I said there. Usually they'll start laying about 8 weeks old, but that's assuming they've got enough light, 16 hours a day of light. They need that in order to be able to lay consistently. Otherwise, you're just going to have to wait until summertime because the days are just too short right now. Axel says, I got my neighbor to subscribe last week. Well, thank you, Axel. I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing the channel. I appreciate it. Daryl says, ordered solar lights for my chickens. Going to order some for quail also. Good. Good. Yeah, that's the easy way to go for sure. All right. Independence says, have you seen a big uptick in people interested in rabbit, quail, and chickens since the pandemic? Not that I've noticed. It's possible, I guess, but not that I've noticed. Keith says, how long do you have to wait to slaughter? We're talking about meat chickens. Oh, well, it depends a little bit on what kind of chicken you're getting. The Cornish cross were, let's see, I think we did about half of them at 8 weeks, and then the other half about 10 weeks old. And they were big birds, much bigger than what you buy in the store for, like you go and buy a chicken in the store, you get a much bigger bird. So I think they were probably, 5 pounds. I mean, there's a family of 3 here, and one of those chickens will feed us for 2 days. And that's dinner one night, lunch the next day for 2 of us, and then dinner the next night. And sometimes we'll have leftovers to do lunch the next day after that. They're pretty good sized birds. Let's see, I had the breast. I took the breast off of the last chicken we thawed out. So you've got the 2 breast halves, and then I did the thighs and the legs and the wings. I went ahead and grilled them up. So we had that for dinner one night. There was enough left over for my wife and I to take to work for lunch. And then the next day I cooked the breast and I weighed them out because I did fajitas with them, and I weighed them out to see how much I had to know the seasoning mix and all that. And they were, let's see, it was a little over 2 pounds for the 2 breasts. So they were a little over a pound each. Half was a little over a pound. Great big, very happy with them. Keith says, seeds have been very hard to come by because of the pandemic. Yeah, I've heard that. I haven't tried to order any seeds. It's one more reason to grow heirloom plants and save your own seeds. I didn't do a good job of saving seeds last year, but I'm pretty sure I got enough seeds left over. I'll be fine. I need to look into that, though. I actually keep telling myself I need to go through my seeds and see what I have and see what I can get ordered. But anyway, Axel says, love your videos so darn much. Well, thank you, Axel. I appreciate that. Bob says, Chris, you should start a clubhouse room. It's getting very popular. I don't know what that is. I may have to look into that. I don't know what it is. Daniel says, hey man, do you think old English chickens can go with my quail? I don't know much about old English chickens. It's probably not good to house them with your quail though. Chickens will pretty much eat anything smaller than them. And I don't know that it's a good idea to house them together, but I don't know what old English chickens are exactly, so I couldn't answer that specifically. Passion, no, I have not raised bobwhite quail myself. No, I haven't. And Casey says, by the way, thank you very much for all your help. Amazing job. 6 quails that I'm getting my eggs from. Thanks to you, mate. You're absolutely welcome. I'm glad to hear that. Congratulations on that. No, I've never raised turkeys, ducks, or geese. We're out of time, guys. No, I've never raised those. My family has. I mean, I've been around. Actually, we had some ducks when I was a kid. I wouldn't say we raised them. We just had them as pets. But no, we didn't have, I've never actually personally raised them on a regular basis. I've been around them. Some of my family has raised them, not me. But all right, guys, I got to wrap this up. Thanks for coming out and spending some time with me tonight. I appreciate it. Always look forward to the live broadcasts. God bless each and every one of you guys. We will see you again, hopefully next week. So take care.